If you take your time, you will save it. Now, the fastest way to improve your art, to improve your animation, is not to look for a shortcut. All sorts of disciplines, all sorts of classes, all sorts of subjects in art, it can seem overwhelming, but you also have to see just how incredibly simple art really is. All you're really doing is taking a pencil and making marks on a canvas, just like a child does when he takes a crayon and he starts scribbling and he goes and shows his parents. That's an artist. That is visual design. Now, I'm sure that many of us want to design, want to draw on a higher level than that of a child with a crayon, but with the same boldness as a child, don't we? Good news, there is an art to fast improvement, fast learning, but that art is steady improvement. If you can learn to take a step towards your goal every single day, every time that you draw, you will reach your destination, and I bet you'll reach it faster than if you tried to rush through things and skip what's important. 2 years ago, I started over. I said I'm going to relearn everything I know about art, about drawing, because I am ready to approach mastery. I want to master this skill. And the key for me, the thing that made it click, was finding the connection between every single subject I've ever learned in art. Make a bridge between what you're learning and what you already know. Now, I have a question for you. Do you want to see the bridge? Do you want to see how I organized the animation knowledge I have and made the connections between each subject so that I can easily go in and reference it at a moment's notice? Well then, let's take a look at my Milanote. So Milanote is a tool you can use to organize creative projects. I'm personally using it as a cross-platform digital art design notebook. Now, here on this fundamentals page is my animation knowledge. So it all starts with this phrase, all change is motion. Then it takes us into our 3 fundamentals of animation. First, timing and spacing, which creates the potential for motion. Then mechanics, which is why motion actually occurs. And then the story, which is what we see. So each fundamental has its digest, its write-up, and then also relevant concepts. So my job is to go through each of these concepts and draw in examples or animate examples so that I can know that I've mastered that concept and I can draw from that knowledge whenever needed. Well, I have some timing concepts here, but my spacing concepts are empty. So I need to fill that in. Let's go ahead and do that. If I want, I can just make a little bit of a drawn example in Milanote. Now this is perspective as it relates to animation and motion, right? And I can take all the notes I need on perspective. Like for example, I have a car moving here to here. I know this can be constant motion when I'm looking at it from an orthographic point of view, a completely flat. Then we put that same shot in perspective. We have our car here going to get smaller. It's going to look like a different motion type. So both of these examples are constant motion, but one is happening in perspective. It actually makes it look like a slow down type of motion. And now I got my notes on perspective. I've demonstrated it visually, so now I know this, I can now put it in my project. So as you can see, I have much work to do. I only have a few animations in here. But let's get back to the point of this video. How do we study, how do we practice animation for fast improvement? It all starts with our goal. I can go to my 2D animation board, and now I have my goal, my method, and my fundamentals. So first off, your goal. You will never arrive somewhere if you don't set a destination. In order to reach a goal, you have to set one. So my goal is to master character animation, and I have my win conditions below here. I want my animation to be believable, to have a sense of realism. I want it to be captivating. I want my audience to find it interesting. I also want it to be easy to make. Those are my 3 win conditions that'll tell me that I've mastered character animation. Now in my goals, I have my inspiration board, and here I can collect references. So I can tap this, and it's empty. Where is everything? Since this is my inspiration, I want to start from scratch. So let's fill this thing with some inspirations. And I'll use my channel as an example. Say I find an illustration, I'm just scrolling through and I see an illustration that I really like, or an animation that I really like. All I have to do is hold tap Save to Milanote. I'm going to choose to save it to my inspiration. Next, I can open up Milanote again, and boom, we have it in unsorted. You can drag this out. And the goal here is not to completely fill the inspiration folder, but find a few, maybe 1 or 2 examples of masterful illustrations so you can stay focused. If you do want more of them, I recommend taking notes on what you do like about this artist example, so it's specific what you're looking for. I find that mood boards that are filled with inspiration can be quite overwhelming, actually. So once you have that very specific and awesome goal, finding a way to reach it is trivial. It's very easy. And that brings us to our method. Some prefer to walk, others drive. Some ride a bike, while others fly. How will you master character animation? Well, I am going to tell captivating stories with motion. In my techniques board, I have different workflows, different methods, techniques that I've gathered from other artists and also created myself so that I can tell captivating stories with motion. Let's check it out. So of course, these are separated by time and space, mechanics and story, just like the fundamentals board. So for timing and spacing, we have a method, straight ahead, and pose to pose. That's pretty much all I have for those. Now, I do have some work to do in the mechanics, but for story, we have a few methods. We have a 5-pass protocol for action hierarchy. So this is the way I like to start and develop my animations. But first I have my primary action, the most influential motion of an action. So if it's running, then it'd be the legs moving. And I do this on a one-dimensional basis. Next, I have my secondary action, which is the second most influential motion of an action. So if it's running, then it's the arms swinging. How are they moving? Are they falling behind the character? Is he using his arms to push him forward? That's the secondary action. This is independent of the primary action. Next, I have my first pass. Here I realize my character proportions and I add the breakdown frames. Second pass, clean up the drawings, in-betweens, then your animation is done. Okay, we have another technique, and that's a linear staging, meaning one action happens at a time. It's a storytelling technique, so that your audience is always following the story because the action they're supposed to pay attention to will have the most contrast. Motion versus no motion, change versus static. Now, learning the techniques of other animators and other artists can be helpful, but I'd be aware of if another artist has a different goal than you, even a slightly different goal, their techniques are going to be quite different. You might have to make some adjustments to their techniques to suit your goals. If you use a method that suits a goal that isn't yours, you're going to find limited success. And finally, we're back to our fundamentals, our tools and supplies. So in order to make captivating stories with motion, we use time and space, mechanics, and storytelling concepts. Now here's how we can study fast, efficiently, and enjoy the process. And it is only learn what you need. And what you need to learn is clear once your goal and your method are clear. So my fundamentals page, I still have a lot of things to add in order to finish my fundamentals. But right now I'm going to leave it the way it is. Why? Since I'm not working on a project at this very second, I don't yet have to add anything. This adds to the fun of animation, so you're not just drilling through learning concepts here and there, concepts that you might not even use. Anytime you get stuck in an animation, you have a goal, you're not quite sure how to achieve it, all you got to do is fill in your fundamentals page as needed for that project. This way you only learn what you need, and therefore you maximize the time you spend actually drawing and animating rather than studying. Now, as a goal to master your skills, I recommend that you take all of the concepts that you've learned about and make an animation demonstrating that concept. That'll show you that you really mastered this concept and that you understand it. That is how you improve quickly, that's how you improve steadily, and how you enjoy the journey to animation mastery. If you're looking for a digital notebook that's cross-platform, that supports MP4s, GIFs, documents, you can try Milanote for free to see how it works. There is no time limit, so check out the link in the description below to start building your own knowledge base with animated examples. Let's put this knowledge base to use in a real animation. Let's build a bridge.